Hello friends, what's up? It's Jamie here. Welcome back to my channel. You're gonna have to excuse my voice throughout this video. I'm recovering from a cold. I'm mostly over it, but sometimes my voice sounds like a little bit odd. So if at any point throughout this video I sound like I'm going through puberty again, that is why. We're doing something a little different today. So if you have been on the internet or YouTube at all recently, then you are probably aware that MatPat, Matthew Patrick, the host of the Game Theory, Film Theory, Food Theory, Style Theory, and GTLive channels, has retired. Matt's retirement has really become this very significant and pivotal moment in YouTube history because one, Matt is just kind of like this YouTube legend. He, across all of his channels, he has 40 million subscribers combined. That's already huge in and of itself. Matt and his wife Steph have consulted for numerous YouTubers and YouTube channels. They hosted those huge St. Jude fundraisers. What was it, for 3 years in a row, I want to say? And so they've both done so much for the YouTube community at large. And the other really big reason why Matt's retirement in particular is so significant is because despite other YouTubers having retired before, or some who have even retired recently, right before Matt did, announced his retirement, Matt has honestly laid the groundwork for how to exit a YouTube career. In a way that's never really been done before. So if you want more information about Matt's retirement beyond what you may have just watched from his announcement video, I highly recommend that you watch the Colin and Samir interview. I loved it. It's a 2-hour-ish, 2.5-hour interview, and it was so good. I feel like it's definitely not even just even if you don't know, somehow you don't know who Matt is, it's such a good video to watch if you just want to learn more about YouTube as a platform and just how to navigate YouTube. It's just, oh my gosh, I always feel I learned so much when I listen to Matt and Steph talk about the logistics of YouTube. It's so fascinating. I love it. But yeah, I really love that interview. I feel it really touches on everything you could possibly want to know. And I particularly love it because I feel it really does a phenomenal job of highlighting Steph in particular, who has been such an instrumental part of Theorist as a brand and as a company, which people don't always realize, they don't always recognize that. And so I highly recommend that you go check out that interview. It was great. Anyway, I don't know if I've ever really mentioned this or voiced this on the channel, but MatPat has always been just hugely influential to me, as he was for so many people. And so for this video, I just kind of wanted to talk about what Matt and Steph and the Theorist channels have meant to me, because I have quite a long history with these channels, and it just yeah, I don't know. I just wanted to do something to commemorate Matt's retirement because it was oh my gosh, it's been such an emotional roller coaster. I'm so happy for him. I'm so happy and proud, but it's also been just so bittersweet for me as just such a long time viewer and fan. And so I just kind of want to chat about just again, the impact that him and Steph and the channels have had on me throughout the years. And I thought, what better way to do so than in my my FNAF shirt, the franchise that haunts Matthew even in his retirement. Oh my gosh, I love that tweet of him telling about how Ollie wanted to play. The first thing he wanted to do his first day into retirement is his son is yeah, let's play FNAF. I just excellent. The jokes really do write themselves. It's so funny. But yeah, so I'm wearing my FNAF shirt that I've literally had since I was 15, and I honestly have really not worn it that much, but I felt that it was appropriate for the occasion. So without further ado, let's get into the video. It wasn't until I sat down to make this video that I really fathomed that I have been watching Game Theory for somewhere between 8.5 to 9 years, which is insane. I listen, I watch a lot of YouTube. I watch so much YouTube. It's kind of disgusting just how much YouTube I watch. If you knew how much YouTube I watched, you would be concerned for my health. Like, I watch a lot of YouTube. Like, I'm always like, every time my doctor's like, so like, how much screen time do you would you say you do? And I'm like, oh, probably maybe like 4 or 5 hours. It's much more than that, just from YouTube alone. But anyway, but yeah, so I watch so much YouTube, and I have a lot of favorite YouTubers. I have so many YouTubers that I've been watching like consistently for years, and yet I don't think any of the like, if we're talking about like having consistently watched, like, again, even amongst some like my favorite YouTubers, like, it's hard to watch like every single video by all my favorite YouTubers. Again, even like my most like top 10 favorite YouTubers ever, like, it's hard to like keep up with every one of their uploads. But so like, I just kind of try to think like, just like generally like how like consistent I've been watching their content. And again, even for someone like like Jacksepticeye, Sean, like, who I would consider to be like probably my favorite, if we're thinking like grand scheme of things, like probably my favorite YouTuber of all time. Like, I want to say I've been watching him for like 6 or 7 years. So, but yeah, so it's like not like like, I don't think there's any other channel that I've been watching like consistently for as long that I have been following Game Theory for, which again is just like mind-blowing. I feel like it just goes to show that the fact that I've been consistently watching all the channels under the Theorist umbrella for almost a decade, for some of the channels since their creation, because, you know, we didn't always have food theory, style theory. I think it gets a little fuzzy because my memory is not that great, but I want to say when I like was like first starting to like really watch like Matt consistently, it was like, I think like right after GTLive, like as a channel, like had just been created. Like, there was already Game Theory, there was Film Theory, and I think then it was when GTLive came around. I think, I want to say, again, I don't remember exactly, but that's my guess. Again, I think it just goes to show that it's just like how much I love Matt and Steph and everything that they've created. Also, for the record, in this video, I'm mostly going to be focusing on Game Theory and GTLive because like those are the channels that I've watched the most and have always been like my favorites. But just so that we're clear, I love all the Theorist channels. I love Film Theory, I love Food Theory, I love Style Theory. Like, I love them all, but Game Theory and GTLive will always have like a particularly special place in my heart. As a fellow former theater kid, Matt really spoke to me like when I first discovered Game Theory, with his ability to always like weave a really interesting and compelling story in each of his theories. Whether it was a lore-based theory or more of a science-based theory, Matt has always had just like this really incredible ability to make his content very digestible and easy to understand and fun. Well, easy to understand until we got to the later years, the more recent years of FNAF, but listen, that's not his fault, okay? I'm not gonna hold him accountable for that, okay? Scott Cawthon is just unhinged, and do any of us really know what's going on in FNAF? Who fucking knows at this point, man? Oh my god, I remember, because when I first started watching Game Theory, there was only like a handful of FNAF theories. Like, again, like FNAF was still like really, it was not what it is today. Like, it was still like, it was definitely like popping off, but it wasn't like the huge, like humongous franchise it is today. And that's just so crazy for me to think about. That it's just like, oh, it's just like a couple of game theories, and then it's just like, now what? Isn't there like there's like 69, I think, of them, which is very funny. Or it's like 68, something like, and it's like, there's a lot of FNAF theories like, on Game Theory, and it's just like, wow, look how far we've come. And do we understand the lore yet? No, but it's been a fun ride regardless. Listen, even though I have not understood a single FNAF theory since those like very early ones, I have enjoyed every single one that Matt has made. I've also just, and this is another thing kind of going back to just like early theorist content. Oh my gosh, I used to love, and I know that again because YouTube's annoying, that they kind of were not able to really do this, and they're not able to do this really anymore, but I loved it when they had all the other different creators doing like their own like little like mini shows on game theory. I always loved Gaijin Goomba and Ryder Foot of a Ferret. I always loved their stuff. I also just thought it was really cool that they were able to like put the spotlight on other creators too. I've always loved that. I've always really admired that about game theory. Now, if you're familiar with my channel, then you might know that I actually got my start on YouTube, like my proper start on YouTube, by doing theory videos, specifically Minecraft Diaries theory videos. I had acquired this love of theorizing from watching Matt every week, and because I was a huge Minecraft Diaries fangirl but had no one to talk about it with in my real life, I made my first theory video. I never expected anyone to watch it, but I just wanted to talk about my thoughts and my little theories about Minecraft Diaries. And then next thing I knew, that video had 25,000 views, which is like, for a small channel like mine, like that's huge. Like that was incredible. And then from that video, I continued to make Minecraft Diaries theory videos, which allowed me to engage with the Minecraft Diaries fandom and the like theorist community, which was like really cool. And even though I no longer make theory videos of my own, I will always be so thankful for that part of my YouTube history and how it shaped me into the person that I am today. Anyway, back to Matt and theorist. I remember so distinctly the early days of GTLive. Again, I can't remember exactly if I was there when the actual GTLive channel was created, like when it was first created, but I remember, man, when it was just Matt and Steph and Jason on the TriCaster, and they would stream on the Game Theorist channel and then like post the stream onto GTLive. And then I remember when they started just like streaming on GTLive, like, oh my God, man, that really takes me back. I literally only used my Twitter account because I've never been active on Twitter, not in recent years, not even when I created the account, but I specifically would use my Twitter account so that I can engage with the GTLive hashtag on Twitter, because it was always like, go follow the GTLive hashtag on Twitter, and it was so fun to see everybody chatting. Oh my God, those are the days, man. Like, it really, really takes me back. And I've always loved GTLive, and even though it's not live anymore, but I love GTLive, like getting to see just like Matt and Steph just like be silly and goofy and just play some silly goofy little games and stuff. And it was especially always really fun because Steph, who was not usually in front of the camera, who did not voice the theories, like it wasn't her doing the voiceover, like it was really fun to like get to see her and get to know her. Like, oh my God, man, there's just something really special about early GTLive that I love. I still love GTLive. Like I actually right before I started filming, I was actually just watching the most recent GT Not Live with the, what is it called? That's Not My Neighbor. I love that. I think it's so fun. I was just watching that on the TV before I started filming. But yeah. And I also loved like always getting to hear from like the people behind the camera, whether it was Jason or Chris or Dan or Mirror Matt or Ash. Like the ways that each of them interacted with Matt and Steph was like always like so different, so like different from each other, but always funny, like consistently hilarious. And as a teenager that had no friends, tuning into GTLive, like it made me feel like I was playing games and hanging out with my pals, which I know sounds really sad. I promise I'm okay. I promise I have friends now. But it's just, even honestly, even now, and like I have I'd say I have pretty good friends. There's just something about just like always like just like sitting down and like watching them play games and stuff, and it's just like, again, I just feel like I'm just hanging out with some buds, and it's just great. I loved when they would do the Scary Game Fridays. Like, my favorite horror game that they played was Until Dawn, which is my favorite horror game of all time, and it's a personal like Halloween tradition for me to always go back and rewatch their playthrough of Until Dawn every Halloween. I love it. It's just like, it's my favorite Halloween tradition like ever. I also like consistently do clap and a halves because of GTLive. Like, I have fully integrated clap and a halves to just like my day-to-day life. Like, anytime I'm watching a GT Not live or like an old VOD from when they used to do like actual lives consistently for like GTLive, and because a lot of times when I'm watching one or I'm listening to one, I'm doing something else, because I have to always be like, whether I'm like typing something or like doing like, I don't know, like a craft or like whatever, like I always have to like keep myself occupied like with my hands. Like, I'm just I can never just, well, sometimes I can, but a lot of times I can never just sit and like watch something. I need to also be doing something else while I'm watching something. But so sometimes I'm occupied with something else and I hear a clap and a half and I'm like, I missed it. I missed it. So I literally rewind so I can go back and do the clap and a half with them. I take my clapping and a halfing very seriously, okay? I am dedicated. Some of my other favorite playthroughs that they've done are Doki Doki Literature Club and Kindergarten 1 and 2. Oh my gosh. Matt and Steph doing all of, like, the voices is just, it's always been just so much fun. And like, also just like Steph is just like so good at voices. Like, her Nugget voice, iconic. Like, actually, like, it is such like a staple of like GTLive lore. Like, she was so iconic for that. Like, she really did the damn thing. Like, like, she really did that. Like, I think about it all the time. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, that was incredible. Like, she's just so fantastic. Oh my god, I love Steph. I loved it when they did Just Dance. I think, oh my god, they played like a Minecraft, but it wasn't like regular Minecraft. It was like oh my god, why am I blanking so hard on this? It was like some kind of like Minecraft like mini game that they played, and I want to say it was on Valentine's Day, because I remember watching it on my birthday. So I want to say it was on my 15th birthday, and I remember because I was alone on my 15th birthday because it was really miserable. I had a really bad day. But yeah, oh my god, I love that video. I also really enjoyed like all the Undertale fan games that they played. I loved it when they played Deltarune, but speaking of Undertale, I feel like I need to talk about the Sans' nest theory, because I have some thoughts and opinions that you might actually not expect. I feel like I have a pretty unique experience with the Sans' nest theory, which has now become very infamous as like a game theory. But I remember when that theory came out and I watched it and I loved it. And I'm being so dead serious when I say that. Like, that's not a joke. There's no punchline. Like, I loved it. I'm not being sarcastic. Like, I'm being so genuine right now. Because even though I didn't agree with the theory, obviously, sorry, I feel like I had to get that out of the way. Like, even though I didn't agree with the theory, I still really enjoyed the narrative that Matt had crafted for that theory, and I had so much fun watching that video. I was like, this is great. I loved it. Because despite being a pretty big Undertale fan, I was so engrossed in the Minecraft Diaries fandom that I didn't really engage with that many other fandoms, including Undertale. And like, I didn't read the comments on that video either. So I watched it. I had a good time. I was like, this is great. That was great. What a great little video. And so it literally wasn't until like years later when like Matt would talk about the video in retrospect that I even like found out that people had gotten so up in arms about it. Like, I literally had no idea. Literally, I was so oblivious to all of that. But you wanna know why I love the theory? Again, like, genuinely love the theory, because I've always loved that theory video way before it ever became the meme that it is today. Ultimately, Matt is the reason why I believe to be a theorist is to also be a storyteller, because again, regardless of whether I agree with every single one of his theories, and I don't agree with every single one of his theories, as much as I have always loved his content, I have always admired and respected Matt's ability to craft a really compelling narrative from each of his theories. Like, again, for me, it's not always about like, is this theory right? Did this theory get all the little lore puzzle pieces into the correct places? Like, for me, I'm just like, was it an interesting story? Was there an interesting argument presented to me? Did I have a good time watching it? And that's always been, that's like all that has mattered to me. Because again, like, for a lot of Matt's theories, I'm like, yeah, I'm like, that makes a lot of sense. I'm like, I genuinely believe that. And then there are others that I'm like, that's probably not the case at all. But I still respect, again, what you did here, even with like his most silly, like asinine theories, like a certain Luigi one that I'm thinking of right now. But yeah, so that's like how I genuinely felt watching the Sans is Ness theory. Again, like, did I ever for a second think that Sans is actually Ness? No. But when it comes to the lore theories, obviously with more of like the really like science, math-based theories, it's a lot more important for things to be more accurate and like actually correct. But when it comes to like the lore stuff, I'm like, if you're telling me a good story, or if you presented to me like a compelling argument, like, I'm gonna enjoy it, and I'm gonna really see just like how much, again, also just because like just how much effort and work goes into creating these theories. Like, I've always admired that. If I had to pick like my all-time favorite theories, I would say, again, I unironically love the Sans' Nest theory, so that's definitely one of them. And then I would say probably, if we're going like top 3, I would also say the Until Dawn theory. I actually used that theory as like a source for a project that I had to do for one of like, I think it was my health class about schizophrenia. I used it as a source. And then also the Life is Strange theory with like the Myers-Briggs like personality test. Oh, I really, really love that one. Those were just great. Game theory and all of the theorist channels have been such a staple in my life that it truly like shocked me, like caught me so off guard when Matt first announced that he was retiring. Which, in hindsight, like as I've reflected on it more, I really shouldn't have been that surprised. Like, him and Steph aren't getting any younger. Ollie is getting older. Like, oh my God, I remember when he was born. I remember when he was like little, and now he's like, oh my God. I'm like, that's a whole human. I'm like, oh my God. It makes me feel incredibly old to watch that child's age. Like, when Steph left GTLive, I bawled my eyes out. I was a wreck. Oh my God. It took me forever to get through her like final like goodbye stream, because I just like, I was crying, man. I was like, oh. But like, ultimately I understood, like, I knew that that was just the right decision for her, that was the decision that she needed to make. But just because like, and the same thing with like Matt retiring, like I understood, even though I was incredibly emotional about it, I understood that is the decision that he needed to make for himself. But it's just like, just because you like know something is coming, or it like, you're not ever fully prepared for it when it happens, you know? I wept throughout the entire announcement video. Again, like, I was a wreck. That video was like 25 minutes long. It took me like an hour to watch it because I just had to keep pausing to cry. Because I'm like, I'm crying too much. I'm like, I can't hear what he's saying. Like, I'm crying so loudly and viscerally. I'm so sorry. I'm like, I had to keep pausing so I could like compose myself a little bit so I could actually hear the things that he was saying. Again, I cannot stress this enough. I am so proud. I am so proud of Matt and Steph and everything that they have accomplished these last 13 years. I am so proud of the platforms and the communities that they have created and fostered. I am so proud. I feel so proud to be a part of those communities and so grateful. But God, am I gonna miss them. Oh my God, I'm gonna miss them. And really like recognizing all of the feelings I've been feeling has been very helpful to me throughout this whole transition. Like, again, I'm so happy for them. I'm so proud of them. But I'm also really sad, and just making space for all of those emotions and knowing that they don't have to cancel each other out is what helped me get me it is what has helped get me through these times. And I'm also just so excited for this new era of theorists. Like, oh my gosh, Tom's first game theory, the Poppy Playtime theory, was so good. I watched it 3 times. I was so excited, and I loved Lee's first theory and Santi's first theory and Amy's first theory. I just finished watching that like a few hours ago too. Like, oh my God. I mean, I knew that like the channels were in such good hands with each of these new hosts, but you know, the internet is scary, and so I was very I was very concerned for them. But I'm so pleasantly surprised and relieved that they have been each received with such like open arms, with such warm welcomes as the new hosts. It has really warmed my heart to see. I love the entire Theorist team, past and present, and while I'm definitely still gonna need to get used to hearing a British accent on game theory, I am so optimistic and hopeful for the future of these channels, and I can't wait to see what they do next. Plus, Matt is still gonna be on GTLive for the foreseeable future, which was so funny. Oh my God, it was so funny because literally here I am fucking bawling my eyes out from the final game theory, which, by the way, the production, amazing, incredible, impeccable, like literally no words. Oh my gosh, all of the endings were just immaculate, and I loved all of them. I don't even know if I have a favorite. I loved all of them. They were all so iconic in their own way. And they were incredible. But anyway, what I was saying was like, it was so funny watching that video, crying, like just full on, like sobbing. And then 2 days later, Matt's like, hey, on GTLive. It was so funny. Oh my gosh. But it's still just like, it's so comforting knowing that, you know, he's still gonna be around. Like, he's still here. He's still doing things. Like, even though he's in retirement, he's still doing things. But yeah, it's just nice to know that, you know, Grandpa Pat still gonna be around, still kicking. Letting us know that even though change is scary, everything's gonna be okay. Anyway, that's all I have for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm gonna go before I start crying. Happy retirement, Matt and Steph. You guys deserve this so much. I hope that retirement is so fun and restful and filled with so many more Mario Kart nights and time with the people that you love. Thank you for everything.